Madden here, peak performance coach for high impact leaders. Today we are going to talk about principle number 2 from our 24 principles of self-protection from Black Belt Boss, now available on Amazon and my website, coachajmadden.com. Principle 2 today, crucial principle, absolutely key principle of our 24 principles, and that is the principle of don't be there in the first place. Don't be there. Success is in the setup. This is a principle of avoiding bad situations. 99%, 99.9% of self-protection, of avoiding violence, is awareness and avoidance. Avoidance, don't be there in the first place. Don't overthink this. It's not that complicated. You want to think about what type of advice you would give to someone that you care about, somebody that you love. What would you tell them not to do? Take that advice yourself. The kind of advice you would give, such as lock your doors. Lock your doors of your cars when you get in. Avoid aggressive driving when you're driving your car. The 10 p.m. rule. Nothing good happens after 10 p.m. Avoiding being out after 10 p.m. These are the type of things you would say to somebody you care about, that you would want to be safe. Take that advice yourself. Oftentimes we don't take the advice we would give. This is crucial. Always trust your gut is a don't be there principle. Your gut is never wrong. I almost never use always and never, but I'll use it in this case. Your gut is never wrong. It is always right. Trust your gut in terms of avoiding bad situations, avoiding bad people, bad relationships, bad business partnerships. Always trust your gut. If you remember one thing today, it's that. Out of this principle, if you remember one thing, always trust your gut. Listen to it and don't be there in the first place. Greg Jackson, a legendary MMA coach. He's been a coach to multiple UFC champions, head trainer, coach to John Jones, Holly Holm, George St. Pierre, Carlos Condit, UFC legends. When Greg Jackson is game planning for a fight, according to him, the first thing that he does is figure out the points to avoid, the bad situations to avoid in the fight, which is essentially his fighter's opponent's strengths. So avoid your opponent's strengths. Don't be there in the first place. That's the first thing that he does, is avoid the strengths of his opponent. It helps his fighters to avoid those strengths. That's the beginning of the game plan. Success is in the setup. This rule applies to our leadership, to our self-protection, our life. The vast majority of our success is done in the setup. 95% of our success comes through the setup. That's how the foundation that we build, the beginning. We think about our relationships, which is a huge cause of stress. It's one of the biggest causes of stress for most people, if not the biggest, is relationship stress. Think about how success is in the setup, how important it is to choose the right person to let into our life, whether it's a personal relationship, a business partnership, who we hire in our business, who we promote into a leadership position in our business, where we invest our time and money in our business. These are all leadership business examples now, who we decide to work for, what type of company, the person we decide to work for. This is a success in the setup question. It's a question you have to ask yourself. How can I set myself up for success in the first place? Because if I do that, 95% of my headaches go away. I can avoid all the bad things that happen in bad relationships if I set myself up for success in the first place. How do we know what a good relationship would look like? How do we set ourselves up for success? How do we truly know? Sounds like a simple question. Number one, we have to know what we value ourselves. We have to know our own principles that we live by. We have to be crystal clear on our own principles and our values. That is how we set ourselves up for success in the first place. That's step one. Know what you stand for. Number two, investigate the person you want to start a relationship with, whether it be business or personal. Learn about their values and their principles. What do they stand for? What are their habits? What are their habits, values, and principles? What do they stand for? How do they operate? How do they think? Investigate. This is how we avoid problems in the first place. Step 3, in the setup, always trust your gut. Trust your gut first. Listen to your gut. Our best ideas, decisions, choices often come from below the neck, down here in our gut. Our gut, again, it's always right. Trust it. Listen to it. Don't ignore what your gut is saying to you. This applies to leadership, relationships, business, and self-protection. Absolutely crucial. A few quotes from our Principle 2, Don't Be There, from our 1% Warrior book, Black Belt Boss. This is from Charlie Munger, billionaire Charlie Munger. He is Warren Buffett's business partner at Berkshire Hathaway. Charlie's a multi-billionaire and known as one of the wisest business people in America. It is remarkable how much long-term advantage people like us have gotten by trying to be consistently not stupid instead of trying to be very intelligent. By trying to be consistently not stupid instead of trying to be very intelligent. This is a success in the setup mentality. This is trying to avoid the problems and challenges, the violence, the worst case scenarios. Don't be there in the first place. Another quote from Charlie Munger. One of the greatest ways to avoid trouble is to keep it simple. One of the greatest ways to avoid trouble is to keep it simple. When you keep things simple and you're principle-based, like our 24 principles of leadership and self-protection, it's a simple way to process leadership and avoiding violence. All right? When you keep it simple, you avoid trouble. When you live principles-based and values-based, when you know what you stand for and you understand a handful of important principles, all right? This is a success in the setup mentality. When you keep it simple, it makes it much easier. 1% Warrior, Black Belt Boss. Available on Amazon, on my website, coachajmadden.com. If you found this video useful, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. If you found this video helpful, please share it with someone that you think might also find it helpful and useful. I challenge everyone to continuously do the single hard things, to live heroic every day, to be principles-based. Don't be there in the first place. Success is in the setup. Principle 2, don't be there.